Hey, geometry. So today throughout the day, I'm going to be looking through and grade your tests. Um, Be in mind that the grade that I'm giving you, it's not the grade that's going to the textbook. I'm just grading it as if it was a test, just so you have that satisfaction. If you did well or if you messed up, then you know, like, oh, I should make sure I know this. Um, the But if you submitted it on time, and you did an honest job, then you should get full credit. So I'll be going through that throughout the day, and you'll see private comments when I'm working on it. So today we're going to also have a Zoom session. I have to check what time is it for 10th grade, but when that happens, um, it seems like it's noon to 1. So I'll post it along with this video what time will be the Zoom session. So you can ask me questions on this section, or ask me questions about the test, or ask me a question about my day. I don't care what you ask. So let's get started with this today's lesson, which is 8.1, Find Angle Measures in Polygons. So polygon, if you remember, it's a shape. This is from, I believe, chapter 1, actually. So it's been a long time since we just talked about generic polygons. It's a shape with flat sides. They could be either convex or concave, and it has angles and no curved edges. Okay, so something like this is a polygon, but something like that is not. Okay, so what we're going to focus on today is the interior angles and the exterior angles. So what are the interior angles? Well, let's just do something we know, like a triangle. We know a triangle, all the angles inside a triangle adds up to 180 degrees. That's a fact that never's wrong. And let's talk about, like, let's say a square or any four-sided shape. If a square has 90 degrees all around, so 90, 90, 90, 90, then times it by 4, so 90 times 4, that's 360 degrees. That's going to end up being true for all four-sided shapes. Oh, and it has to be convex. So it's four convex-sided shape polygons. So the inside of any triangle, no matter how it looks like, no matter how it looks like, no matter how it looks like, is going to be 180 every time. Okay? And then I want you to think, you can't really make a two-sided shape, right? Because a two-sided shape that's a polygon, you'll make two straight lines, but then there's an issue. You can't really connect the lines without bending one, and then as soon as the curve, it stops being a polygon. With that in mind, we're going to make a formula to figure out how many what's the angles add up on the inside of a triangle. Okay, so just as a little bit of a pattern, from here to here is 180 degrees. So like you added 180 degrees. So I'm going to put 180 here. But my first shape that I could use is a triangle. I can't use a two-sided shape. If you remember, I just said that. You can't close a shape. So I'm going to represent how many sides as n. So n is how many sides? Minus 2. Why minus 2? Well, if I put a two-sided shape, it's not a shape, so it becomes 0. So you can't even describe how many interior angles there is because there's no inside anymore. So that's why we put minus 2. At 3, you plug in a 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 times 180. That's 180 degrees. So this 180 equals n minus 2 equals the sum of all the angles inside this polygon. Just looking if we use a variable that. If not, I'm going to use what we call a sigma. So we're going to do sigma, which is like this weird Greek E. So that's the sum of angles, okay? And I'm going to write out words too, of course. Sum of all interior, so the angles on the inside, angles. Okay? So there's two ways I could ask you a question using this equation. So, for example, I could ask you, what's the sum of the interior angles for a, let's go a nonagon? So first off, you're like, crud. I gotta remember these names. So nonagon. So let's see. I know 5 is a pentagon, 6 is a hexagon, 7 is a septagon, 8 is a octagon, so 9 is a ninagon. So this is a 9-sided shape. Okay? So this is a 9-sided shape. So since this has 9 sides, n equals 9. So I simply just plug it into my equation, which is very simple. 9 minus 2 equals the sum. And then 9 minus 2 is 7 times 180. 7 times 180 is 700. 8 times 7 is, why am I bad? 56. So 756. 1260, I believe. Let me just back it up with a calculator. And I apologize being a little slow on the math today. Somebody's saying like, yeah, it's definitely 1260. And I agree with them. 1260 is your answer. So I could just ask you, how many sides does this have? If I tell you how many sides it has, you could tell me what the interior angles is. Now, if I ask you, what type of shape has the sum of interior angles of let me think of a number. 1080. So I'm asking you now. This is a second type of question. If I know the sum of the angles on the inside of the shape is 1080 degrees, can I find how many sides that shape has? Okay, so we have 1080 degrees, and we're going to find how many sides that shape has. So this is the sum. So then I'm going to set that equal to 180 n minus 2. Now, instinctively, you could distribute the 180. I'm going to tell you this. Because it's 180 times a set of things, what I could do is divide 180 first. So I'm going to divide 180 first. That allows me to cross out this 80. I don't have to distribute, multiply 2 with 80, add 180, divide. I'm just going to divide 180 from the beginning. So 1080 divided by 180, it ends up being 6 equals n minus 2. So then I'm just going to plus 2 on both sides. So I have 8 equals n. So n, this is an 8-sided shape, or you could call it an octagon. Okay? So it's an 8-sided shape or an octagon. Now we're going to talk about exterior angles. But before I talk about exterior angles, I could just draw the shape also. And let's say I tell you, well, first off, you'll check how many sides the shape has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 sides to the shape. So if I want to figure out how many the angles add up to, is 180, n minus 2. I actually know what n is. That's 5. So 180 times 3, that should be 540. Okay, I know the sum is 540. But what if I told you this is 100, this is 90, this is, looks bigger than 100, so let's say 120, this is 60, and this is x. And I ask you, please find x. Well, you look at the question real carefully, and you're like, how do I find x in this situation? Well, I could look at this, and I see that in this polygon, it's a 5-sided shape, so it's a pentagon. In this pentagon, I know the sum of it is 540. So I assume some of you could do it. It's kind of like a triangle. You know, since it equals 540, you could add all the pieces together. So we'll start at 100 plus 90 plus 120 plus 60 plus x. So I'm adding all of these together, and these are all just the sides, or all the angles, I apologize. So 100 plus 90 plus 120 plus 60 is 370. So this is 540 equals, I just added all these together, so I combine like terms. So that's 370 plus x. Then I'm going to minus 370, minus 370. And that's going to be, cross that out, x equals, looks like 140 to me. 140. So just like a triangle, if you have all the other sides, you could find the missing angle. All right, I just drew another example of that type of problem. Happens again to be a 5-sided shape. If you don't remember how we figure out the sum of the interior angles, 180 times 5 minus 2. And you're just going to trust me, it's 540. You don't have to trust me. You literally could go back in the video. So 540 is the sum of the interior angles. Now notice this is slightly different. You have x and you have x plus 10. So you still do the same process. You're finding 540 equals, add up all the pieces. So we got x plus 130 plus 90 plus 100 plus x plus 10. So even though this is one side, you just put it like this, x plus 10. Let's combine all the normal numbers and combine the x's. So I have 2x plus 330 equals 540. Subtract 330 on both sides. So I'm left with 210 equals 2x divided by 2 divided by 2. So x equals, in this case, 105. If, let's say, I had letters, like I call this angle A and call this angle B, angle A would be 105. Well, angle B, you actually plug into x, so 105 plus 10 will be 115. Okay? Now we're actually going to do exterior angles. All right, now let's talk about exterior angles. So interior angles obviously are the inside angles. So exterior is going to be the outside angles, but not just like this kind of arc, because that's not the angle we're kind of talking about. When I say exterior angles, it's kind of like the angle if this line continued, and this line continued, and this line continued. So like if you add these end parts, like I guess like tassels to the polygon, and then we talked about the angles here. So I'll mark each angle. Those is what I'm talking about, the exterior angle. I use one mark, but they're not necessarily all equal. So these are going to be the exterior angle. Now what's really, really interesting, for exterior angles, no matter if it's a billion-sided polygon or a 5-sided polygon or it's a triangle, whatever it is, exterior angles, I should say the sum of exterior angles, and that symbol means sum, so add it all together, always equals 360 degrees. So compared to the other one where you actually had to use a formula, a simple one, but still a formula, this one is always 360 degree. So let's say I ask you the same question. For a nonagon, what's the exterior angles? Don't even think, your answer is 360 degrees. Now, just point out, I can't ask you the reverse question. If I know that 360 degrees is the exterior angles, tell me what shape that is. Can't ask you that question because every shape, every polygon is has exterior 360 degrees. So you're like, well, Mr. Tobo, that's not really a question. There's always 360. So then we're going to put a little algebra to it. I'm going to be using the same shape. Sorry about that. If you wrote the numbers from before, just change them to these numbers now. So, um, so we want to find what x is. So it's kind of similar to the triangles, except it always adds up to 360. It always adds up to 360. So 360 equals 90 plus 40 plus 70 plus 80 plus x. Okay, I'm going to add up all these normal numbers, these constants. So that should be 280 plus x equals 360. Subtract 280 from 360. So we have 80 left. So 80 equals x. So 80 equals x. All right. Pretty simple stuff. I'll give one more example problem and then I'll assign the homework. All right, due to power editing, I just instantly drew this triangle or this shape. This is a quadrilateral, four-sided shape. So this is x plus 10, 75, 81, and x. So let's figure out what x is. Again, no matter what the shape is, it adds up. The exterior angles, the outside angles, adds up to 360. So that's 360 plus 75 plus 81 plus x plus 10 plus x. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 360 equals all that stuff. So then 75 plus 81 plus x plus 10 plus x. So that is going to become 75 plus 81, which is 156. X plus x is plus 2x. Oh, and I forgot the plus 10. So it's 75 plus 81 plus 10 is 166. 360. So subtract 166 from 360. That's going to become, so that's 360 getting subtracted by 166. So that's going to become 194 equals 2x divided by 2x on both sides. X should equal 97. 97. Okay, I hope this video helps. I'm going to do a Zoom today, and it's also going to be posted with this video. I believe yours is noon, but I'll just post the exact time on Google Classroom. I'll be grading your homeworks throughout the day, so from basically like 9 to 12, I'll be grading their homeworks, okay? Otherwise, and I'll leave comments on the Google Classroom. All right, have a wonderful day, be clean, and all that stuff.